What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel. I am back to recap season 2 of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. Y'all know how bad I wanted for them to drop a season 2, so of course I'm here to recap it, right? Per usual, I watch a show using Philo. I've got a link in the description box that you can use to go ahead, sign up, and watch the show as well. The main takeaway I got from the debut episode was that Ken does not like Gypsy. I actually was extremely uncomfortable watching the way that he treated her over their dinner date, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? We're immediately jumping into the pregnancy storyline in season 2, and I just know that the season is going to deliver like never before. Ken wishes that Gypsy were divorced before he knocked her up, yet he raw dogged her, so make it make sense. Gypsy, meanwhile, brings up the idea of marrying him, and he about craps himself in bed at the thought of that. Like, why are we being subjected to his bare toenail, by the way? Now, Gypsy is hoping to break the mom-killing cycle in her family with her daughter, but I think that's up to her daughter to break and not necessarily herself. They argue a bit about Ken's social media usage on the way to the ultrasound appointment, and Gypsy thinks it's weird that he stays up all night reading comments on his phone and that it comes across as a little shady, but Ken just has a bit of a smirk about it all. And it's rather crazy how many women are accusing her of trapping Ken with a baby when they show the montage of all of the TikTok comments, as if Ken didn't make the decision to raw dog her and to shoot up her club. He is a grown man. He knows how babies are made. Let's stop with this pick me logic, girls, please. I'm so glad to see that Gypsy's sister is back on board for season 2. She is always on point, not afraid to tell it like it is. I am a big fan of hers thus far. And she straight up tells us that she's disappointed in Gypsy for getting knocked up so quickly. And she also doesn't want her and Ken to have a shotgun wedding like her dad did with Gypsy's mom, Dee Dee. And I completely agree. And Gypsy and Ken then sit down with a couples therapist to discuss their relationship, because there's already, a lot of resentment built up in there from when he dumped her and she wound up marrying that other guy that she didn't even really care for. So, at this point in the second iteration of their relationship, they're about 6 months in. And like I just said, lots of resentments built up and residual feelings from their initial go around. And with all of the restrictions placed on them from her parole situation, for example, Gypsy can only spend about 2 nights a week with Ken. And honestly, it's not even that bad if you were a single dating kind of couple, but they are expecting a baby, so of course they do want more. She also can't live with him while on parole unless they're married, and we already saw a little bit earlier that Ken and his toenail are not in any hurry to get married to Gypsy. By the way, this man is extremely boring. I cannot wait for Ryan to come back at this point, because he's putting me to sleep. No charisma, no nothing going on with this guy. He's always bitching about random things as well, like how he has to drive to his baby mama's house or whatnot. And Gypsy says that she learned from her mistake of jumping into a relationship with Ryan, which is why she's taking things slowly with Ken. And I was kind of looking around where's the hidden camera? When is a prankster going to come out and say that she's joking, right? Because here she is, knocked up within a week of getting back together with Ken. So what part of that is taking anything slow? You really cannot make this stuff up. Ken, meanwhile, he bitches this time about having to move into a bigger home with Gypsy now that they're expecting a baby. He's mad because it's going to be far from his friends. And, again, he's always just complaining, this guy. He's not happy about this entire situation. But again, grown man decided to do what he did, accept your responsibilities, right? And so you really see him try to take out his unhappiness on Gypsy during this. What kind of dinner was it? A baby versary dinner? I don't know what it was, but they were celebrating something. They go out to dinner and he does all of the ordering for their dinner. And so he knows that Gypsy does not like octopus as an animal, as a texture of food, nothing, right? So he specifically orders octopus for her so that he can convince her that she actually likes it, which, again, not fair. You guys are celebrating something. You're supposed to be choosing things that you both like. Why are you even ordering for her? Especially as she's pregnant, let her get what she wants, what she's craving, what she needs for herself and the baby, right? And so he's trying to force her to eat it and everything. And she says that she doesn't like it. And he calls her ridiculous because she doesn't like it. And it made me really uncomfortable because you could see how disappointed she was in the whole experience. And then he's talking about it in front of the waiter, like, look at this uncultured swine, doesn't even like octopus. Meanwhile, I thought that like seafood and pregnant women was already a complicated sort of combination, but I digress. Then he knows that she also doesn't like crab, so what does he do? He orders crab next. Same thing happens. She doesn't want to eat it, right? And he's forcing her to swallow these things that she wants to spit out. And to me, it felt borderline abusive, to be honest with you. Again, very obvious that this guy is not happy with the relationship, and he's trying to take it out on her instead of just like, I don't know, being like, hey, listen, this is not going to work. Let's just live separately or whatever. When the baby comes, we'll co-parent separately. Like, he wants to like really put her through it. And, it sucks to see her in that sort of a situation. And at this point, I'm like, okay, well, where's anything that she likes? Like, why are you only ordering things that she does not like? I don't think that you like her, for example. I don't think anything at this table likes her. And that made me so sad for her, you guys. It really, really did. Like, and then second time when she doesn't want to eat the crabs or anything like that either, he makes fun of her to the waiter, and the waiter had to stand up for Gypsy by saying, hey, listen, like, like, leave her alone. Like, she's pregnant. Like, what is this? Like, this is weird. She doesn't have to like it. Like, I'm sure there are other foods she likes, sort of a thing. And then Ken just kept looking at her with like contempt and disgust because she didn't like the things that he ordered, but he ordered those things knowing that she didn't like them. So at this point, after he makes fun of her to the waiter again, she just like leaves the table and she goes to the bathroom crying. And I felt bad for her. Again, like, he was bullying her at that point, and you guys are here over dinner to celebrate something, and this is how you treat her, just ordering exclusively things she doesn't like and knowingly doing that, then making fun of her to somebody else about it, and the other person has to stick up for her. Like, that's a terrible feeling, and now Gypsy, you're stuck with this man for life, girl. Like, this is why you should not rush to marry, or even worse, rush to have a kid with somebody. At least with a marriage, as evidenced by your situation, you could just throw it out, say, you know what, I don't want this anymore, walk away, and it's done. But when there's a child involved, that's like a whole other level where you're truly stuck with that person for a very, very long time. Even if it's not in an intimate relationship, co-parent, something, you're stuck with the guy. And that's, a huge warning, I hope, for the people watching the show, not to go down the same step of just rushing into things, making major decisions the way that Gypsy Rose does, right? And so as I'm seeing her like run off to the bathroom to cry over this after like her baby daddy bullied her at the table, all I could think is Ryan would have never done this. Ryan was so obsessed with Gypsy. He would have ordered everything she loved. He would have ordered 2 of everything she loved, one for her, one for the baby. He would have been massaging her feet under the table, you guys. And meanwhile, Ken, every time he hurts her and she looks sad, like, he has a smug look. Like, he was not bothered by her going off to the bathroom to cry or anything like that. Like, I think he got off on it. That's why I think he's like a sadist or a narc or something like that. Very, very painful dynamic there. And then we finally get to see a bit of what Ryan's up to. And so we flip to him at his house, refusing to cover up his gypsy like shrine / neon sign. Like, he takes it down, and then there's the outline of it from like the dust and stuff, and he's just like, oh, I love her so much, like, listen, granted, she doesn't love him, and you can't control that. If you don't love the person, you don't love the person, right? But it's crazy just seeing like the way that guy treated her versus this one, and yeah, like, the producer's asking him, are you going to paint over like the traces of Gypsy's name? And he's like, no, I can't do it. It's crazy. It really, really is. But you know what? I hope things look up for Gypsy in this relationship moving forward, especially with her being pregnant, because as of right now, season 2, episode 1, I'm just not seeing it for her relationship with Ken. I don't get why she likes him. Again, he's very negative, very bitchy, like, just very low energy, and just, he's mean to her. So I don't get it, but good luck to you, Gypsy, moving forward. I hope that things improve in this relationship, especially when the baby gets here. Although that's typically when relationships truly are put to the test, right? In the face of all of the stress that comes with having a newborn baby. But I digress. Remember, you guys, I watched the show using Philo, which is like a streaming service for reality television. And I have a link in the description box that you can use to go ahead, sign up, get yourself a free account, and start binging some of your favorite reality shows, okay? Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.